Hello, welcome back. So we're going to look at the major alts on this video, and my normal IEO coins we'll look at on a separate video, but we'll look at Bitcoin on both. So let's start with Bitcoin. So we're on a daily chart here, and yesterday's video we had this support box that we had in here, which I expected this wedge to break to the downside, and it did, and it found its support just as if perfectly designed for it. It bounced on the 9,800 area. If that were to have broken, we've got a 9,730 area, which would also break. And the reason we've got that is because this is the lowest that we found ourselves over the most recent times. So, which at the moment, it's positive that it didn't go down that far, but I would expect this to be tested again, this support area, and maybe if it does get tested one or maybe two times, then we might be looking for more downside. The good thing about this support area here is that there's two main reasons why it's a support. First being that there's a strong moving average, the 50-day close, which you could almost say it bounced from that, definitely. And secondly, our lowest point here, where we found a significant support and a nice bounce, is down here. So this, even though the range is very small in these two levels of support here, it is actually very strong. So we'll have to see if that gets tested again. I expect that it will. If not today, then some point this week it will be tested again and probably be broken. If that does break, then we will be coming down quite significantly more. Probably finding a support around about this area, around the low 9,000s, but we will have bounces on the way. But once this area is broken, it would suggest a more significant pullback. And when we look at indicators now, indicators suggest definitely moves to the downside. So we'll leave it with Bitcoin, because it looks like a larger period of consolidation is now taking place. A good old shakeout for all those guys who got in a little too late. The bears have certainly got control on this area now, and moving averages are beginning to slope down. The 50-day close is leveling out, and if we can't break out of this little area that we're in now and start making moves back up again, those moving averages will all start facing down, and probably, if it continues to fall over the next week, this 200 EMA will also start to level out and perhaps fall. And if that does fall, then we are looking for bigger retracements than you could have even anticipated. But it's early days now. We're still in correction, and we're just got to see how it works itself out. There could obviously be a decent bounce from here, making our way back up into this wedge. This wedge would kind of be irrelevant, or we'd have to redraw it to see where that takes us. But at the moment, it's still in correction, and I believe that there's still more room to go down. So we'll look at some of these other guys. So we'll look at I don't know why that one's there. We've got two of the same going on there. So we'll have a look at this guy here, which is ADA, Cardano. So we're on the Bitcoin pairing, and we are sloping down still. On the daily, not looking positive at all, and in fact we're falling faster than Bitcoin. It does suggest that there might be a turning point soon, so we could actually be looking to bottom out quite soon, but at the moment we certainly haven't bottomed out. The 556 Satoshi level is where we are right now with ADA, and we are making sort of steady declines down with the tether pairing, which is obvious. If we're falling faster than Bitcoin, we will certainly lose a lot more value with tether. Tether actually looks a little less strong than the Bitcoin pairing. Not that looks strong at all. They both look very weak. We're finding a support around 5.5 cents, but I believe that will also be broken. When Bitcoin continues to fall, all these major alts will fall with it, with the exception of perhaps a few, but I doubt that there'll be many that escape the plunge when Bitcoin continues to take it. So we'll move on to the next guy, which is XRP. So this is one of the guys, this is one of the coins that that is never really taken off this year. I mean, it did okay. Let's give it credit for what it has done, but in comparison to its brothers and sisters, it's definitely been an underperformer, and we're right down back to where we began, almost before the market took off. Really, we're just hovering over it, and actually overnight we did actually dip into the low 29 cents area, and I think that we're probably going to test that area again. There's no reason why this one is going to cause a significant bounce yet. However, when alt season comes around, this one might be one of the first to move, but it's also one of the first, I think, to bottom. And the reason I say that is because at the moment we're on the tether chart here, so we've got this. We're in this area here, which look, we trended on this area for the best part of the year, really, and it has remained as a relatively strong support. The lowest I would expect to go would be the low 28 cents. So if we call it a flat 28 cents, that would be the lowest I would expect this guy to go, which would suggest that we might be looking to make a bottom soon. And we look at the Satoshi values, we're actually picking ourselves up, so we might have found a bottom at around 2,700 Satoshis. But we'll see what happens when Bitcoin falls, how far this one's going to fall with it. But currently, it's not exactly a great mover in general, but it could be maybe one of the first altcoins to have found, to have found its bottom. So that's one thing to hold on to at least. But we'll have to wait and see still. Litecoin with Bitcoin is falling almost at the same speed, but certainly having its moves amplified by Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin were to continue to fall now, which it probably will, it's going to take Litecoin down with it. Now the big question is where's Litecoin's bottom going to be, and I reckon the bottom will be relatively soon. If we look on the tether chart, we're bleeding out here, we're finding a bounce on the 200 EMA, but plenty of room to go still, so I still think there's plenty of room to fall down to. I think we're going to find ourselves in the mid 60s with this one before we find our bottom on the tether pairing. Yeah, but when we do find a bottom, it should start to make big moves up again, as it did when it took off originally. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this one takes off and see how it goes. It is an interesting one because we've got the halving event coming around, so a huge correction before possibly a big boom with the coin. So we'll see what happens with that. EOS now. So we'll have a quick look at EOS. EOS has been drained of its blood. It's now down half from where it was only a month ago. So not a good sign for any coin to have lost half of its value in such a small space of time, but it did make big moves, so we'll give it credit for that. But now it's making big corrections, and it's still got plenty of room to go down. I actually didn't expect it to fall down this far, but it certainly took me by surprise. I think we've got further to go, to be honest with you. We're finding support here, which is around $4.10. Don't be surprised if it makes its way down to $3.70 before we start to find a bounce on that one. And just have a look at the Bitcoin pairing. So the Bitcoin pairing, we're finding bounces here. It looks like it wants to make a bottom. We'll have to see how it reacts when Bitcoin continues to fall, because we are at our lowest point since end of 2018. So not a good call for EOS, but perhaps it might start to recover faster than others once its bottom's made. So that's one thing to hold on to with these coins. We've got time to prepare for an alt season. Not that there's an alt season, on display at the moment. We don't have any telltale signs that there is going to be an alt season at any time soon, and if there is, we don't know which coins will be affected the most and for how long the alt season will take place for. But I would probably say, and I'm not your financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, but the 3 or 4 coins that we've just looked at here, they've all made significant pullbacks, really significant, losing almost half of their value, and in this case with EOS certainly losing half of its value. might be worth watching when the bottom comes in, because they probably will make fast moves back up to where they came from, probably. But if Bitcoin dominance continues to rise and there's no pullback with the dominance chart, then perhaps maybe these coins won't recover like that. They're all very different, these guys. XRP specifically, Litecoin's got a big thing coming around the corner with the halving event. ADA is kind of a standard altcoin really at the moment, not really utilising its true functionality, and is essentially like a trading tool with a lot of liquidity in it, but underperforming big time. And EOS looks to me like it's really failing. I would call a lot of this move FOMO. That's not exactly parabolic, but it's not far off. It moved too fast, too soon, and is suffering the hangover now from such a big party. Anyway, I will leave this video with you here, and like I say, we've got to wait for these bottoms to come in, and don't make a guess on the bottoms. Wait for the bottoms to come in, wait for them to be confirmed, wait for other indicators. Keep watching my videos, do your own research, try and work out what you think is best for you with these guys. But at the moment it's a no trade zone for me, and I'm not going to give you any advice, but I certainly won't be trading it. I'm not going to be trading any of these until I have a confirmed bottom for them. I need to see that before I feel comfortable putting any money into any of these things. But if the bottom is confirmed, then yeah, we're looking at some significant moves, provided that Bitcoin dominance sort of starts to retrace a little. And just a little side note on that dominance chart, we're currently at we're almost 65% on Bitcoin dominance, despite everything that's taken place with Bitcoin now. I would probably say if we get to about 70%, we'll start to see a slight retracement. So we've got more to go with that dominance chart. When we see Bitcoin take the 70% dominance, then we will probably see an alt season shortly after that. But at the same token, that's a little way away still, and with such consolidations across the board, that 70% probably won't be touched for maybe a week or two. So we'll see how all of this goes. If you're interested in the IEO coins, obviously I've got another video coming up, so check that one too. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Take it easy.